The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound.
Please hit the like button. Shalom.
Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion.
To Zion, brothers and sisters, I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly Sabbath live with Elder Lawya. And yes, you see the title. Yes, the title. The media must lie to uphold the empire. Yes, are you in for a lesson? Or we are in for a lesson today. I'd like to thank you, brothers and sisters, throughout the four corners of the earth. Please hit the like button as you come through. As you come through, the enemy is attempting to try to put a lid on it. They didn't contemplate our people rallying together under one accord to put pressure on their talking heads they've been using for years against us. They're trying to put a lid on it, but you cannot put a lid on what's getting exposed, and you cannot put a lid on the prophecies of the children of Israel coming back to their God, following the laws, statutes, and commandments. They cannot put a lid on it. And for our people who will continually believe them and stay under the delusion after this, guess what? If they do, after seeing this broadcast today, unfortunately, they'll deserve everything the enemy has for them. Oh yeah, come on in. Come on in. Shalom. Shalom. I see y'all, my family. Shalom. What's going on, family, brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth? This is the Gathering of Christ Church. And before we go in, we're going to say our Shema and jump right into it, right? Before doing so, all right, I must announce the new academy beginning December 4th. Okay. We have a lot of different dynamics that we are actually implementing to make the academy more interactive. All right. Okay. Of course, we sit behind the camera, the microphone, bring forth the history. You pull up the PDFs, but we're looking to do a more interactive type of deal. I just got a new computer over there that we'll be using for the academy. Thanks for your support, where we'll be able to pull up Zoom and do other interactions, as well as live presentations for a few of the lessons with a live audience. Okay. These are the things we're doing to make it more interactive. And of course, keeping the news within a 30 to 40 minute parameter so that we can do 30 minutes at the maximum Q&As. Okay. We're going to do it in a more constructed time frame so that all of us can get everything that we should get out of this particular academy, especially in the midst of what's going on geopolitically. And it all comes around full circle, starting right now, folks, with what I'm about to go into. Because what I'm about to go into is just the tip of the iceberg of some of the information that you can only really learn and study from a school standpoint or within a school environment. Keep in mind, we were indoctrinated into these lies by the enemy through their indoctrination camps called school. Automatically, psychologically, it puts you in a what? A passive state to receive the authoritative information without pushback. That's why their schools have been so effective. It's the mindset that your parents are sending you there to learn. And by doing so, we trust. Well, that's the environment that the academy is under, but it's a trusting system that allow you to get truth and build yourself beyond the lies of their indoctrination camps. They're not school at all. It's not school at all. It's nonsense. People are leaving these schools getting what? Useless degrees, only to leverage them off against their own people. Well, I must respect you because you have a piece of paper. No, you learn how to take tests. But how did that transfer into the real world with you helping your people? See? We're going to blow the lid off this today. And guess what? I love education. I love learning. Okay? So I'm not casting no negative on someone or anyone who have achieved degrees. I'm just giving you the reality of the matter. Is that there's a lot of useless degrees that doesn't transfer into the real world. Okay? We're going to jump right in. December 4th, I would like to break records in this academy. I want you all to enroll, okay? December 4th. It's quite inexpensive. 3 months of serious information you cannot find anywhere. Okay? Now, like I said, this lesson today will be the tip of the iceberg to give you an insight to the history that you can learn in the academy with the resources to do what? Not only to learn about ourselves in the world geopolitically, but in order to also protect ourselves. To protect ourselves with knowledge. Hosea 4 and 6 tell us that our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So it's not that we're not educated and have degrees. We're lacking the knowledge of God and ourselves. This is why so many of the media has rallied around a brother uploading a tweet. It's not because of what they're claiming, because I'm going to prove that today. It's not because that particular documentary have some tropes and listen, it's deeper than just tropes and all that. They don't want anyone pointing to their history Okay? The history before World War II. Before World War I. The history before America was founded. So it has nothing to do with some tropes and all that. Because guess what? Kyrie Irving could have tweeted an ox and some African stuff showing white people destroying our people in Africa with an ox on it, and the people would have, and they could have said white people too. It could have had white people there. It could have said white people did this and white people did that. And you know what? The mainstream establishment wouldn't have said anything. They invite our people, on their shows. Okay, give them a platform like Tiffany Cross to talk about the white man is this and the white man is that and the white man. They will give you the platform to talk about white man all day long. White supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. They'll allow you to do that. But that documentary pushed some buttons and it had nothing to do with them, but everything to do with us finding ourselves. Because once we know we're Israel as a whole, the gig is up. Well, so listen, let's jump into it, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with the Shema. Let's do it.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God. And the God of the Hebrews, the God of Israel, is the God above all gods. And he's setting us free. This is the Gathered of Christ Church. I have a lot of announcements at the end of it. But as you can see, the title precedes itself. Right? Of course, we're going to start from the present, then work our way backward. Okay, yeah, for the Academy, if you want to enroll, let me put this out there. historytimes.org. historytimes.org. And we intentionally, that's right, titled it or gave it the label history. Even though we deal with geopolitical news as well as the Bible as the emphasis. So that even secular people who come in who didn't believe the Bible at all for history lessons end up understanding this book's value historically. Elder Lawyer, let's jump in.
Yes, sir.
The media must uphold lies. The media must lie to uphold the empire. What empire? Let's fill in the blanks. How can we do so? We must show you where what? History and prophecy meets. Right? And therefore, you can understand the real purpose of media. Isaiah 34:16 first, Elder Lawyer.
Isaiah 34, verse number 16.
Yep.
Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read.
Seek ye out of the book of the Lord. That's the Bible. And read. Read.
No one of these shall fail.
No one of the prophecies of the Bible has failed or will fail, including our people waking up. Including Israel waking up. Judah, in particular, waking up. Read.
None shall want her mate.
And you cannot mate the prophecies of the Bible, the Israelites' book, with any other nations or Gentiles' spiritual or historical records. It'll confuse you. If you try to mesh this with the Egyptian history, who has purposely tried to write the Hebrews out of their records, it'll confuse you. If you are an Israelite or believe you're Israel, and then try to go into another Babylonian record of Talmud, it'll do what? Askew the prophecies. The Bible doesn't refer us to the Talmud. So anyone that's mating the Torah and the Tanakh with the Talmud, that's anti-Christ, anti-Bible. And they are not to be trusted. Unless you're willing to lead with the true record you believe in. Read.
For my mouth it have commanded, and his spirit it have gathered them.
Now, in particular, and I'm going to show you where this is going, Elder Lawya. I took some time on this today. When you read Isaiah 34, it goes into seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. Stay in the Bible. Find the prophecies. But in the same book of Isaiah 34 is pointing out something in that prophecy. Let's go all the way up, Elder Lawya, in the same chapter, Isaiah 34. And let's start, Elder Lawya, real quick. Let's start at the 4th verse.
Yes, sir. Isaiah 34, verse 4. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree.
And it says all their hosts. This is the spiritual principalities, folks, that Paul speaks of, who are really leading this empire, who are really leading the governments of this earth. They're coming here. Read.
Verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, behold, it shall come down upon Idumea.
It shall come down upon who?
Upon Idumea.
Upon Idumea. Now most, especially us getting indoctrinated in these false schools, have no idea what the Bible is talking about and how this prophecy relates to us today. So when we talk about Christ coming back, he's coming back to bathe this sword in Idumea. I know some of you saying, they never taught me that in the church. Who's Idumea? What does that have to do with me as a black man or a white man or an Arab man or an Asian man? You'll know today. You'll understand why we've been receiving media lies. The pulpit for Satan's priest to deceive the world. Read.
For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, behold, it shall come down upon Idumea.
It shall come down upon Idumea. Read.
And upon the people of my curse to judgment.
Upon the people of my curse to judgment. There's a prophetic curse on Idumea for their defiance. They're defying the God of all gods. And they are purposely destroying God's people. And their greatest weapon, folks, is psychology. The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy was cast away, far from home, the girl or the woman. And she was following the yellow brick road She ran into the Tin Man. If only he had a heart. I mean, the straw man. If he only had a brain. And the lion. If he can only have courage. You put these three things together with the woman, who we know in the Bible is Israel. They follow the yellow brick road and realize that there was only one man behind the curtain controlling everything, and he was the weakest of all men. Satan was using eyes. He was using eyes. So that what? He would believe that you didn't have courage. He took away the prophecy, taking you away from, exiling you, so that you would have no home. And he took away the Bible so you wouldn't have a brain. And through that, the lion stands with no courage. So we understand Jacob, Esau, Idumea, and the lion. Idumea must stay close and keep Judah closer. I'll sign you the basketball contracts. I'll make you the top entertainers. Anything you do, gifted by your God, I'm right there to incentivize myself off of you, but also to control your thoughts and prohibit you from understanding your true purpose. Judah is why all empires have always pacified us, because they know we're Judah. I'm not Jewish. I'm Judah. And the prophecies tells us something about Judah. Why the enemy has this love-hate relationship with us. Let's go to Judah. And I know a lot of you saying, hold up, I came in to figure out what's going on with the media. The media is the lie, is the devil's tongue. It's the greatest control from us. And they have us on the yellow brick road searching for ourselves. Right? To control our decisions, our direction without us knowing.
Judah
is a lion's whelp. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Genesis 40.
Hit that like button, folks. You know y'all wrong here. Hit the like button because, listen, I took a lot of time going into this, folks. Do some appreciation for me here. Let's read it.
Genesis 49, verse number 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise.
Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Now, eventually, all the brethren would come together to understand that our Christ is Lord. His name is Yeshua. But on another level, Judah in the earth would influence culture. Whatever we create, whatever swag we create, all the other tribes follow suit. If we do it, then the Tainos does it. The Dominicans does it. The Jamaicans do it. See, they understood that the spirit of culture and creation would lie on Judah. Don't tell me they don't know our book. They have the Torah. They have the Torah. They know our book. They know we influence culture. That means an idea come from heaven and it'd be like, you know what? Y'all have sneakers, but I'm going to come up with Yeezys. And it's going to what? It's going to compete with one of the greatest athletes, Jordan, who has ever graced this earth. And I'm going to do what? I'm going to sell a shoe that's competitive, costs more, and do as much as his brand without being an athlete. This is why Esau signs us to contracts. Because they have to bind and control the talent that inherently God gave Judah. They don't have it. But it doesn't matter to them as long as they can control it. Read.
Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies.
And thy what?
Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies.
Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Folks, everywhere our enemy rules, we're right there. Our hands is at the neck of our enemies. We're right there under them. Why? Because the empires, that's right, folks, seek to keep Judah close, knowing that one day the Bible prophecies would come true and the lion would eventually gain courage. So they keep us close. They'll pacify us. Or what you want, women? What you want, money? What you want, a contract? Shut up. We need that influence to financially aggrandize ourselves off of you. Do not use that influence to help or wake up your people. So the contracts are to control what God gifted to Judah. And to, on top of that, be able to reprimand or take away from those who would use God's gifts for themselves. Elder Lawya?
Yes, sir.
Job 13:4.
Job 13, verse number 4.
Let's go.
But ye are forgers of lies.
Ye are what?
But ye are forgers of lies.
Ye are forgers of lies. Go on.
Ye are all physicians of no value.
And ye are all physicians of no value. Now, why would God have in the prophecies of the Bible the two areas that we should be looking into to avoid getting destroyed? Forge lies. That means what? They construct lies and construct things to psychology to make us accept things we would normally reject. This is done on the news all the time. They'll frame it in a way in which we would accept it, but at the end of the day, it's our demise. They forge lies. Christopher Columbus discovered America. Lie. And then they make it where if they construct their own history, you cannot question it unless you're anti something. You can question any history but theirs. It's almost they're making it illegal for you to say that they're lying. I wonder why. So based on the history against our people, shouldn't we question every narrative they put out there concerning themselves? Shouldn't we? But the Bible says there's forgers of lies, and then it goes into the healthcare field. that they are physicians of no value. What is the Bible saying here? Is it saying that they'll have physicians that of authority in position to harm us? See, and this is why I follow the Bible, and this is why myself, because my starch belief in the Bible, I don't deal with myself when it comes to preventive medicine. Not myself. I don't do that. I don't deal with preventive. Okay? I'm from the old school. Okay? If you're sick, I get the herb that was here from the beginning to heal that sickness. I don't try to prevent nothing. I don't deal with no, have you come every month? Have you come? Nah, I'm cool. Because my God says that you're going to trick me with that. You're going to put fear in me to have me run into one of your offices, and now I'm diagnosed with something. Now I got to get something that you prescribe. And then I look up in my neighborhood with the people I grew up with, and everyone is limping. Everyone is on some medication. Everyone is on something, and we're dying. You know why? So obviously the devil would get in the healthcare field knowing that what? People will do anything not to die. Even trust those who have destroyed them. So myself, I trust in God. I'm not dealing with none of that crap. I'm not into no preventive stuff. You're not going to scare me into finding out something and myself, and I feel perfectly fine. You got perfectly healthy people talking about, yeah, I'm going in to see what's going on. And it's their job, it's incentivized on their part to find something wrong with you. What good is me in a for-profit business telling a customer who walks into my office everything is fine and there's nothing I can treat you with? Does that make any sense in a capitalistic society? Physicians of no value. The media must lie to uphold their empire. So let's jump right into it, Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir.
We're going to work our way backward. How many of us remember this? Fair use. Fair use.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there. Maybe under here.
Let me repeat that once more. Who's the laugh on, folks? So this must be an inside conversation to a degree where after millions of people died through an obvious lie, weapons of mass destruction, there's some people who finds this funny. And the media was drumming this down like, if we don't get in front of this, Iraq, Afghanistan, it's the end of the world, end of democracy, end of this, end of that. But they needed the media in lockstep, and they needed the people to believe everything they were saying to accomplish their mission. Once the mission was accomplished, they don't even care if you know they flat out lied. Turning complete countries upside down, weapons of mass destruction. Then use the black man. Yeah, there's scientific intelligence that tell us, there's intelligence that tell us about the yellow cake.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there. Maybe under here.
Maybe under here. Maybe under here. Oh, that's not anything. That's not nothing. Associated Press. Associated Press had this to say. Years after millions of people died, with the New World Order setting up new regimes, new governments in opposing countries, using a lie. Now, this is Israel in this piece, the state of Israel.
Huh?
שלום דוד. סוף. אדוני נשיא המדינה מעיראק, ואני מודה לך על המעמד החגיגי הזה. תודה.
ראש הכנסת דיברה הנשיא.
כבוד נשיא המדינה, אני הגעתי אליך לא בתור ממלא מקומך, אלא בתור יושב.
כלומר, היחסים הטובים בינינו ובין האמריקאים, מלחמת המפרץ הראשונה, לא הניע אותם לתת לנו תצות עדכניות, מה גם שאנחנו היינו אחרי התקפת טילים מסיבית בשבת בבוקר, וזה היה יומיים שלושה אחרי שהמלחמה כבר פרצה. והדבר הטוב ביותר שהאמריקאים יכלו לעזור לנו, לתת לנו תצות ישנות שלא יכלו להועיל לנו על מה שמתרחש במערב עיראק.
כבודי יושב ראש הכנסת, אני הכנתי דברים קצרים בכתב ברשותך, שלא כהרגלי. אנחנו לא... רק באופן כללי אני שואל.
בסבירות גבוהה מאוד יש נשק בלתי קונבנציונלי. זה ציטוט מהופעה של ראש אמ"ן בפני מליאת, לא בפני ועדת המשנה, לחברי הכנסת אהוד יתור, שדרך אגב באחד העיתונים משום מה תמונתו נשמטה מהרכב הוועדה, אבל הוא היה חבר פעיל ומועיל לאורך...
Clearly, we didn't know enough, but why and how to correct it, this is a very difficult thing to evaluate and to decide. We are trying to say a few things in the report, like the need of more human intelligence.
Was it just evaluations?
I cannot say what we got and what we didn't. Even if there was a weapon of mass destruction, and I'm not excluding it, yes, there might be still, let's assume for the sake of argument that something will be found lately. This is not the question. The main question is why we had to evaluate and to estimate so much. And if there was such weapons, why we couldn't know if it is prepared to be operated or to be stored, for example.
בסדר, שתי רצועות עליונות, שתי רצועות תחתונות במקביל, שתי עליונות במקביל. עכשיו, אתה רואה שיש לו זקן, מן הסתם, יש לו זקן, זהו.
כדאי להוריד את הזקן.
I know a lot of you probably didn't understand the initial point of that, but then he came in and said, well, listen, even though there's no weapons of mass destruction, maybe there'll be some in the future. Why? There was a council in Israel that y'all didn't know about where they was called to task on why they negotiated with America and the world powers to go against the Middle East when there was no proof of weapons of mass destruction. And a lot of you don't know this. Israel was in the crosshairs of all this, the state of Israel. When it comes to questioning, since you were a part of this, what happened to the weapons of mass destructions? And they say, well, listen, we were wrong. But why didn't the world respond to this lie? You know why? Because if the media has the story go away and doesn't speak about it, people forget. Not only did America admit that there was no weapons of mass destruction, Israel, in the news, it's not even allegedly. AP, they say, listen, we were wrong. So we have to really examine when the media in of itself is lockstep on any agenda they're pushing all at once. We must understand the true prophetic intentions of why they're now all together on one accord, pushing an agenda. Doesn't matter what it is. Right? Now, let's jump in. Why? Why? The media must lie to uphold their empire. Why? This is why. There's a prophecy for those you've missed. Let's go back to Idumea, Elder Lawyer. Hit the like button for me, folks, as you come in. Why? Let's read it.
Isaiah 34, verse number 4. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree.
Come on.
For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea.
God said what?
My sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold.
My sword shall be bathed in heaven. Hold up. So let's go here real quick. Let me turn this down. I know it's pretty loud here. Let me put this up here so you can see it. Because this is the important part of this, to have you understand where we are today in prophecy. It says right here. What verse are you at, Elder Lawyer?
Verse 5.
Verse 5. God said, that's right, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven, and behold, it shall what?
Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea.
On who?
Upon Idumea.
Upon Idumea. Folks, suppose I told you that the Idumeans are those who are controlling the media. The Idumeans are controlling the media. Suppose I told you that the Idumea is in power. Most of our people would be confused and say, well, Idumea, what's that? What is Idumea? The Idumeans are controlling the media. Some people ask, well, what do it mean, Idumea? The Idumea was an empire. It's an empire. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to real quick showing you the importance of being at this Hebrew and Bible Academy, folks. The information comes out. Well, I'm going to go to a source here. I'm going to go to the Jewish Encyclopedia. I'm going here to the Jewish Encyclopedia. And so that I can go to the experts and those who've researched to give us some insight to who is Idumea, Edox, or Edom. Because whoever Edom is, God has a problem with them, whoever they are. Because in Isaiah, it tells you these are the people of my curse. These are the people who's pushing anti-biblical principles, who are trying to get into the minds of our children and turn them against God. Idumea. Edom is the name of which was given to Esau. Encyclopedia, this is the Jewish encyclopedia, folks. The firstborn of the son of Isaac. On the day he sold his birthright to Jacob for a mess of pottage, the reddish color which gives its name Adam, not Adam, Adawam, Edom. Edom. The progenitor of the Horites, who are cavemen. All the way down, but check this out, folks. I need y'all to check this out. Now, this is the Jewish encyclopedia. I can't make this up. The Jewish encyclopedia. Look at this. The name Edom is used by the Talmudists for who? The Roman Empire. The Roman Empire. The Roman Empire. And they applied to Rome. Let's get it here. They applied to Rome every passage of the Bible referring to Edom and Esau. Rome, under the name of Edom, is compared to a boar. That's why pigs are their delicacy. And our God said that even touching a pig's or a boar's carcass is an abomination. Now, I didn't make that up. See, I like to go to their sources when they say, well, we didn't tell the truth concerning the war in the Middle East. I like to go to their sources when it identifies who is Edom. Even in their Jewish encyclopedia, and I have the oldest Jewish encyclopedias that goes into this even more in depth. But even online, you can look it up. But no one knew in our churches, that Idumea was the Roman Empire. Now, Christ says, I'm the way, the truth, the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. So could it be Christ was shining a light on the Idumeans who had a government authoritative position over black people who are Jews or Israelites in Judea? Is that why they wanted Christ dead? Because according to the prophecies, he was prophesied to come against them. Could that be? Well, let's see. Let's examine this for a second. Let's examine it. Let's just check it out. Let's check this out real quick. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Edom. Now, you can pull this up on Wiki, but you can also find this in regular encyclopedias. Edom was an ancient kingdom in Transjordan located between Moab and the northeast. Right? There you go. See? Show you where they were. Kingdom of Edom right there, right outside of Israel. Right outside of Israel was the kingdom of Edom. See? Y'all see that? I'm going to show you how this links in till today. Edomites are also called the Shashu of the Egyptians. Right? So we're going to go down here, down there, and show you this. It says Edom, by the first half of the 2nd century BC, more recent excavations showed that the process of Edomite settlements in the southern parts of the kingdom of Judah. So don't forget it, tell you that Judah would be at the neck of the enemies. And this is where Edom began to make a settlement amongst our forefathers. 2nd century BC, before Christ. Right? And then we go down here and look what he say here. Idumeans, the people of God's curse, who Christ will destroy upon his arrival. And then it says, listen, a term that was used in the Hellenistic Roman periods, also mentioned in the New Testament during the 2nd century BC, the Edomites, who are also Idumea, were forcibly converted to Judaism. Pause. Judaism is an Abrahamic, monotheistic, and ethnic religion comprising the collective religious, cultural, and legal tradition and civilization of the Jewish people. It has its roots as an organized religion in the Middle East. During the Bronze Age, modern-day Judaism evolved from Yahwehism. Yahwehism had nothing to do with our religion. But I digress. That's a whole nother conversation. But there you go. Folks, the Gathering of Christ Church didn't print this up. We just did the research. In the regular encyclopedias, as well as the Jewish encyclopedias. During the 2nd century BC, the Edomites were forcibly converted to Judaism by the Hasmoneans, which were Levites. During the time, what? During the time of the Maccabees. And were incorporated, wait for it, were incorporated into the Jewish nation. Pause. Next. Elder Lawya, I need you to get Antiquity of the Jews. Josephus. Antiquity of the Jews, 13, chapter 13. $254. Have it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what I'm going to do so that people can't think I'm making this up, Antiquity of the Jews, Josephus literature that you can find in any rabbi's library. for history concerning Israelites, Jews. Okay? Let's see some of this history so we can tie this in. Let's see some of this history. And I'm going to pull it up on the screen so that you can all read it with us. I need you to go to 254, Elder Lawya, when it talks about Hyrcanus.
Yes, sir. Antiquities of the Jews, book 13, verse 254.
Come on.
But when Hyrcanus heard of the death of Antiochus, he presently made an expedition against the cities of Syria, hoping to find them destitute of fighting men and of such as were able to defend them. However, it was not till the 6th month that he took Madaba, and that not without the greatest distress of his army. After this he took Semega and the neighboring places, and besides this, Shechem and Gerizim, and the nation of the Cuthians, who dwelt at the temple which resembled that temple which was at Jerusalem, and which Alexander permitted Sanballat, the general of his army, to build for the sake of Manasseh, who was son-in-law to Jaddua the high priest, as we have formerly related, which temple was now deserted 200 years after it was built.
Come on.
Verse 257. Hyrcanus took also Dora and Marissa, cities of Idumea, and subdued...
Hold up. These are black men, Levites. During the Maccabean period, the Hasmonean dynasty fought the Idumeans, who eventually, some of them became Romans, cities of Idumea, and subdued all the Idumeans. And what?
And permitted them to stay in that country.
And we permitted them to stay in our country, Israel. Read.
If they would circumcise their genitals.
If they would follow the law of our father Abraham and do the circumcision. Because Esau, or the Idumeans, are our brother. They're our family. So he said that, listen, we will allow you to stay here, but you have to put off your paganism, your heathenism, and you must convert to God's law. Read.
So it says, if they would circumcise their genitals and make use of the laws of the Jews.
If they would make use of the laws of the Jews who were in the land of the Hasmonean dynasty, Levites, Judah. Read.
And they were so desirous of living in the country of their forefathers.
Because Idumea is Esau. So since he was what? They were desirous of living in the country of their forefathers. Read.
That they submitted to the use of circumcision and the rest of the Jewish ways of living.
Come on.
At which time, therefore, this befell them.
This is what befell them. Listen to this and listen to this good. They were Idumeans, but after the conversion of within the Hasmonean dynasty, they became what? Read it.
That they were hereafter no other than Jews.
That they were hereafter no other than who?
Than Jews.
That's where the term comes from. That's when Idumeans were able to label themselves as Jews. So then what would happen? Well, out of this family of converts of the 2nd century BC, you would have Antipater the Idumean. Antipater the Idumean, born 113 or 114 BCE, began the Herodian dynasty, and these are Edomites that are now called Jewish or Jew. And later out of them, Herod the Great. There's nothing great about him. He tried to kill our Lord and Savior. So this was the Edomites posturing themselves in a position to kill the child that was prophesied to destroy their nation and race. Oh, you want to know who Rod is? Right here. There he is. Edomite. The Romans appointed him king of Judea. Now, at this point, you have a white man under our religion appointed by the Roman Empire to kill our Savior. A black man. And they was targeting Christ. If they could have targeted him from birth, they would have. Okay, but when his star was found in the east, let's get the scripture, Elder Lawyer, of this devil right here.
St. Matthew 2, verse 1.
Come on.
Now when Yeshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born king of the Jews?
So here it is, this devil right here, who's from the Herodian dynasty, who converted, his foreparents converted into Judaism, was appointed by Rome, and now they're asking our wise men, where's the boy? Where's the boy? The boy that was prophesied according to our Old Testament to one day judge Idumea, who is Rome. Right? Now that this guy is now leader over Rome, he'll be pushing Roman agenda. So if there's something for the embedment of society, for the black people who are in Jerusalem, they would push the legislation through this guy that was actually some ill intention against us. The same as what they do today. Who would trust this guy if this guy came out and said, well, there's something floating around. I think you all need to be lockstep with the government and follow what we're giving you for remedy. How many would have listened to this guy? When you know this guy wanted Christ dead from birth, targeting the babies in the womb. Sound familiar, folks? Sound familiar? But there's more. There is more. Elder Lawyer, finish reading.
Yes, sir. Now when Yeshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born king of the Jews?
Come on.
For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him.
He was troubled. Because that's right. The angel told Joseph, Christ's father, warned Joseph, take your son into Egypt. Let's read it. Because the king seeks your son's life. Now, if all the people, including the Roman Catholic Church or the Romans, were really about Christ, why did you want his death? Why did you want to see him dead? Why did you want to kill the child? And now you're going to celebrate him as if he's the Savior and have established the Roman Church? Christ warned us of them. He told us in Matthew 24, many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. He knew that Jerusalem would fall, that our people would leave and the land would be desolate. And that a new people would crop up, being the people of the curse according to the Old Testament. And rewrite history. The Bible is true. Christ is true. His ministry is true. But they twisted up everything intentionally, knowing that the book belonged to us. Elder Lawya, let's read the angel warning Joseph.
Yes, sir. The book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt. And be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
For Herod shall seek the child to destroy him. An angel intervened, brothers and sisters, told Joseph, take your son into Egypt. The Idumeans are in position to actually kill the baby of prophecy who will one day awaken the children of Israel and gather them in the last days. You see how patient Esau is? From the conversion of Hyrcanus in the 2nd century, they wanted to be there at least 150 years in advance to have position to get in a high authoritative position to kill the baby. They're very patient. And look at it. Herod made the wise men believe that he was going to honor the baby too. Man, boy, if they had access to modern day psychology as well as media back then, they could have set up a gala. Everybody come on, get something free. Come on in. All the babies can come and we'll enrich the children. And they would have did anything through the media to make everyone believe that they had what? The true intentions of the children at heart. And they would have pounced on Christ. You can't believe them. Job 13:4, ye are forgers of lies and physicians of no value. And if they are led by the serpent, you must be cognitive. You must be cognitive of their venoms. And it's like they know what their greatest tools of poisons are against us. So that's why they make it illegal almost for us to actually mention their venoms. Because that's the safe way of getting something up in you, time released, that can put you away early. So if they are the children of the serpents, we must ask ourselves, well, what are the serpent administers poison? Right? So we have to find out under this modern day system, what are the poisons or venom of the serpent? A lot of you don't know this, that the Vatican and Causaria, the place where the conversion happened, between the 9th and the 8th and 11th century AD, later, the Vatican is termed the land or the temple of the serpent. The capital of Causaria, those people there were called the serpent people. So now we must look at Job 13:4 and analyze that on a higher level. Forgers of lies and physicians of no value. Well, what are their what are their particular venoms? See? What are their poisons? It's up to you to realize that and avoid their poisons. Because I'm seeing the intentions clear. They put Edomites in place, Idumeans, who are prophesied to be destroyed by Christ for all their evil doings. And they put their people in place to kill the people who would one day bring forth Christ in our presence today before his return, where the people of Christ would eventually believe that he was us and we are him. Now, there's more. When Christ came on the scene, now it's clear why he was pointing certain things out. St. John 8:44, let's read it. Let's read it.
St. John 8, verse number 44.
Read it.
Ye are of your father, the devil.
That's why Christ started speaking to him now. Ye are your father, the devil. See? Because now they were in a political position to oppose him, being that Herod didn't do the job in killing the child at birth. But they understood that Christ would oppose their political structure that was established to kill and destroy our people. See, this is where politics and religion collides. They'll tell you, well, listen, there's two things you can't talk about without it becoming ugly, without it getting ugly. Religion and politics. When those are the two things we should be talking about. How do your politics conflict with my core beliefs in God? We should be talking about that. But they make it taboo. What you don't know, folks, the attack on Israel, our people, is and was an religious attack. Because when the Idumeans converted into Judaism during Hyrcanus, on the surface, they were following our law, but secretly, they were dealing with mysticism and the evil practices and fused that with our Torah. To get in a political position. To do what? To be able to negotiate and operate with our people after studying us on a civil level. So that there was civility amongst us and the white Jews during Christ's time. But there was a dark side of that religion they were following. A dark side that they never made evident amongst our people. The only way, listen to me, folks, the only way our people was led in to their secret mission, their secret agenda to kill Christ or us, was if they would align themselves in oaths not to talk about it. Hence, under Freemasonry, there's a question, who is Hiram Abiff? Well, folks, I got the white papers, I got the book Freemasons, I got the areas and all that. And Hiram Abiff is Edom. That's right. Hiram Abiff, the seaman who took timber and all those things and helped Solomon build the temple, he had to serve Solomon in position. So everything Solomon asked him for to build a temple, Esau, the craftsman, the mason, would have to get all his ships together to move everything that we needed in the temple, because God said, Jacob, the second born, He says the elder shall serve the younger. So Esau, Haram-abith, and I can prove this, had to work under Solomon to build the temple. So under that Haram-abith Freemasonry, you must align yourself in an oath to know exactly the true agendas to progress society against the children of Israel. Now, I'm going to show you all a few papers before I go, but that's a great mystery among the Masons. Who's Haram-abith? He's Esau. And you have to come into their secrets and gain an alliance to understand their true agendas. And you must make it to certain degrees to understand it all together. That this is a spiritual race war. It has always been a spiritual race war between Jacob and Esau. The only problem is Jacob doesn't know he's in a war. He don't go back to Christ's birth and wonder why, if this is the king of the world that all people are waiting for, why is there Idumeans? These are white people who converted into Judaism, aiming to kill this black child. Now there's more. Read it again, Elder Lawyer.
St. John 8:44.
Read it.
Ye are of your father, the devil.
Ye are of your father, the devil. Read.
And the lust of your father ye will do.
And the lust of your father ye will do. So then Christ is telling them what? Now he's speaking particularly, folks, to those who converted during the time of Hyrcanus, that they got in position to question his authority now. And he says, the lust of your father you will do. I know your plan. Read.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
You're going to plot to kill me. Like Cain killed Abel. Brother. Like Cain killed Abel. Brother. Read.
And abode not in the truth.
And you cannot believe a thing coming out of their mouths. When they push something on the media, understand it's not for our turn. Read.
He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth.
And the truth isn't in him. Read.
Because there is no truth in him.
And if our Lord and Savior says this, it's the truth. But there were those of our people who were aligned politically and financially with the Roman system. Elder Lawyer, let's go get St. John in the New Testament. 11, verse 45.
St. John 11, verse 45.
Read it.
Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yeshua did believed on him.
Believed on him, read.
But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yeshua had done.
Come on.
Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said,
Now our people and the converts all came together now. See? Read.
What do we do? For this man doeth many miracles.
What are we to do about him? He's disrupting the political landscape. Everyone is talking about this guy. He was prophesied to destroy Idumea. What do we do? Read.
48. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him.
If we leave him alone, all men will believe on him. Judah, that's right, is he whom thy brother shall praise. He has too much influence. We must get in front of this. Sound familiar? Does it sound familiar to you? We must shut him up. We must have him denounce what he's doing. We must reprimand him. We must take away his money. We must do everything against him. Because why? He has influence. Sounds familiar? Read.
Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, "What do we? For this man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone,
if we don't intervene,
all men will believe on him.
All men will follow this man. He has too much influence. Even in our times, you had J. Edgar Hoover of the FBI saying that we must get in front of the rise of a black messiah. If there's any black leaders, we must give them to them. That's what Black Lives Matter is. All these talking heads and puppets who has no influence and power are in front of the TV with their hands up their rear ends. And if you say anything outside of script, you must apologize. It says, if we let him alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans and the what?
And the Romans shall come.
The Idumeans
shall come and take away both our place and nation.
Will take away our place and our nation. We'll lose our status with the empire. If we don't do something in legislation to get this person out of the way. So don't tell me religion and politics doesn't run congruent one with another. Because the truth disrupts the status quo. Especially for a nation or an empire that has been built on lies. Read.
49. And one of them named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them,
said what?
Ye know nothing at all.
You know nothing at all. Read.
Nor considered that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people.
It's expedient that one man should die for the people.
And that the whole nation perish not.
So that the whole nation of Israel perish not. So even during the New Testament narratives, they understood Christ's birth and death was for a specific people. Okay, the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, some people get that confused. Who will be saved and who Christ came for prophetically are two separate conversations. He came to gather the original 12 tribes of Israel. Okay? That's his mission, to bring back the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And by proxy, Israel would become a light to the Gentiles. In that order. Who will be saved is an entirely different conversation that the Christian churches has muddied the waters with. Being saved doesn't make you equal to the lost tribes of Israel. Okay? To the Jews first, which are Israel, and also to the Gentiles. Israel will be saved to do what? To be a light to the Gentiles who are saved if they repent, and they would be saved to do what? They will be saved to serve in the kingdom. So I see some people misrepresenting what we believe, straight lying by omission out there, thinking they know what we're teaching. Lying on purpose, saying, the Gathering Christ Church, yeah. They believe that the nation, the Gentiles, can be saved, and we don't believe the Gentiles can be saved. That's stupidity. That's stupidity in of itself. How can the Gentiles serve you if they aren't saved to serve you? See? How will they serve you in the kingdom? Talking about they serving you unless they're saved from what's coming in the war, to live on the other side to serve you. Read that last piece again, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse number 50.
Yes.
Nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die.
That one man should die.
For the people.
For the people, come on.
And that the whole nation perish not.
That the whole nation perish not. So this is why the Roman Empire and others wanted to kill Christ. Why? He was the direct threat to the Roman Empire prophetically. And by default, the Hebrews who came out of Christ, the family that came out of Christ, would now become that threat to their empire if they realize their true purpose and nation. See? And at this point, Elder Lawyer, read on.
51. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yeshua should die for that nation.
Read.
And not for that nation only.
And not for that nation only. Come on.
But that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad.
That he's also responsible for going into the new world and to the other places the 10 tribes are scattered, to gather them together like we once were under David. So this is why when Esau gained control, he began to explore to find these scattered tribes and destroy them before they're gathered. He wasn't discovering anything. He knew exactly the people he landed upon when he came to the Americas, when he went to Australia, when he went to these different places. These indigenous people are in word the lost tribes of Israel, and they know it. But if they find these people, put a religious structure in place as well as a medical system in place, they can use these two together to finish what Herod couldn't by missing that moment, killing Christ. They have to now set up a system where what? We're not going to leave nothing to chance. If anyone have a baby, it's going to be with us. We're going to know about a new prophet coming into this earth. And guess what? They're going to have to be discharged from our presence. I used to wonder, and I thought it was more than a coincidence that during the time of Magic Johnson saying he got HIV and at that point, and you know, we were living in North Philly, we all thought it was a gay disease. That's what they told us on the media. And now Magic Johnson become the face of it. It's no longer conversated about a gay disease. And then they're talking about us getting tested in North Philadelphia. I'm like, what? What does Magic Johnson got to do with me? Oh no, you better be tested. And then I looked up and I said, well, hold up. It jumped over all these other Western countries, and now it's become an epidemic in Africa a year later? It never made sense for me before. But when I read the stories of the Idumeans, the curse on Idumea, their conversion and killing Christ, and the fact that they said, listen, it was prophesied that this man is going to awaken not just Israel here, but those who were scattered throughout the earth. Now I realize that's right. Why the colonizers began to go into these different areas to put a construct in place to stop the prophecy that we read of in what? Isaiah 34, as well as the book of Obadiah. They had to give us church, and they had to set up a healthcare system. And those two together, that's right, they'll be able to do the job. Then they had a black president, and a so-called black president, not even from America, okay? Even his father was from the lands of Ham. And here it is. Here it is. They put a black president before us, and he's the one that came up with what? You got it. Yeah, man, the healthcare plan. Yeah, you got to get that healthcare plan. Healthcare for all. When healthcare never has been an issue in our community. Man, they would give us healthcare for free. You know that. Especially what we know now. Healthcare for all. No, it was to transition all of our medical records, no matter who you are, into one database. Which takes away second opinion when you really look at it. Allegedly. Because now, when you go into another office, a doctor's office, your record's going to pull up. And here it is, you want an independent study outside of that past diagnosis. But you can't get that because now the doctor has to pull up and work from where that last doctor diagnosed. Taking away your right of getting a separate opinion without us knowing. And I'm like, whoa, this is cold-blooded. We have to watch all of this. We have to watch the healthcare. And we have to take the healthcare and filter it with the word of God and say, well, okay, you have to find out whether or not things are clean or unclean according to God. And then make a conscious choice, right? That's what I do. That's my opinion. That's what I do. But here it is. Go ahead, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse number 53.
53, read.
Then from that day, or from that day forth, they took counsel together to put him to death.
And from that day forth, they took counsel to do what?
Together for to put him to death.
Together to put him to death. So it wasn't just the Romans and the converts. It was our people too in political positions who were threatened by Christ's influence. And they said, well, listen, if we don't get in front of this because the Romans have incentivized us to control our people, if they listen to him, the Romans will have no more use for us. And the Romans are going to take away our political positions. They're not listening to us no more. So then they said, we have to get rid of them or lose our status with the Roman Empire. Sounds familiar, folks? Now you see why a couple of weeks ago, the talking heads and all that through the media that looked like us, who were really speaking for someone else, was actually destroying Kyrie and Kanye. Because it's their position as talking heads to influence us. Same thing. Same political landscape. Put this thing of Judah and Israel in a box. Don't talk about it. Talk about anything except that. Give me 1 second. Coming right back. Coming right back. Please hit the like button. You don't want to miss what I'm about to show you. I have it queued. Hold tight.
The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken. and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
That's right. Hebrew and Bible Academy, December 4th. You are invited. And I have a lot of things to go into, folks. I'll tell you, you don't want to miss it. And Elder Lawya, we're going to work on a chart showing all the Bibles in chronological orders according to dates. Mm-hmm. Old and New Testament with the pseudepigrapha and the missing books in chronological order. And we're going to give that chart to those in the next academy. So that this way, you'll know exactly how to read the Bible chronologically, in what order it should be, along with the hidden books. And we have to, based on, popular demand, we got to go back into the lost books of the Bible and make that a class in the academy. And you don't want to miss it. This coming Sunday, we're going into the secret. Tomorrow, we're going into the secrets of the times to show people exactly, or around about, give or take a few years, what year we truly are in. We're not in 2022. Okay? We're not in 2022. We're not even, let me tell you folks, it's not even 2000. It's not even 1800. We're going to go into that tomorrow, the secrets of the times. If you like this and you want to become a part of the academy, go to historytimes.org. Now, so what happens here? They plan to kill Christ because Christ is disrupting the political landscape. He was prophesied in the Old Testament to bring Israel back together, which would be a threat to the empire. Now, during this time, the Roman Empire would use the Marb for their media. What's the Marb? Well, the Marb was the Roman Colosseum, where all the influential, the elite, and those of power would come all together to watch sports or the games. So they would make it a big deal in Rome, the games. Carnivals. They would have carnivals there, games, people selling merchandise, and everyone would go there, one big party for almost a week to get everyone there at the games. Why? Because they had a guy who was the presenter who would actually bring forth, that's right, the government's agendas amongst the elite to take back to their respective areas. This was the medium for communication and government control over people, where the Colosseum served the purpose. Not only could you get in a good game, but you also was lockstep with the agendas of the Roman Empire. See? And during the games is where they actually developed a high level of patriotism based on the messaging coming from the mediator or the person delivering the government's agendas. See? And hence the reason why people are so disturbed today with Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, because that forum was set up to actually promote patriotism and to get along with whatever agendas that are being pushed. This is why when it's cancer and all these things, they got a pink ribbon and all these other things, and the sports guys are wearing pink shoes and all that. And I have to look into that too. Like, y'all been talking about a cure for a long time when it comes to this cancer stuff. Right? But I digress. It's lockstep using the MARB. That's why they're up in arms when, that's right, because don't forget, even Kanye said they took 4 stadiums away from me. The MARB, the Roman Colosseum, is where they present and bring forth the government's messages. They're not going to let this guy with 4 separate stadiums, MARBs, bring forth the information that we are the children of Israel. But I digress. Right? Well, that same Christ, after being crucified, presented himself. He also warned us of what? Idumea, or the Roman Empire, coming against us. Now, for those who missed it earlier, I see you got about 3,000 in. Let me just give you a refresher real quick of what you missed. This is not my opinion. In the Jewish Encyclopedia, it tells us that Edom is what? Let me show you. Edom, Idumea, is used by the Talmudists for the Roman Empire. Edom is Rome. See, they tricked us by becoming the Roman Catholic Church to make us believe the disciples were white, but they're not. They were Israelites were and are black. The true Christians were black from the beginning. And it says Rome, under the name of Edom, is compared to a boar or a pig, the most abominable animal. I didn't make that up. That's in the Jewish Encyclopedia. Now, the Idumeans feel threatened. Why? Because of the Old Testament prophecies of Israelites concerning them. That this child was prophetically born in the earth, whom our people been waiting for, to oppose an empire that has always persecuted and or enslaved them. See? Now, we're going to wrap up soon, but let me go through this. Let's go where Christ prophesied the fall of Judea.
St. Luke chapter 21, verse number 20.
Yep.
And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
When you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies. Now, who compassed Jerusalem with armies? Vespasian and his son Titus came against Jerusalem. Now, if we want to talk about a destructive genocide of a nation, there's no other place more so to look than 70 AD. And I used to wonder, in modern day Jewry, why is it that they have no problem with the Roman Empire? Rome. I used to wonder that. If these were the people responsible for destroying Jerusalem, where the Jews lost their homeland, then why aren't they now speaking of this Okay? This is 70 AD where millions of Israelites, this is where Judah, Benjamin, and Levi lost Judea. We should be talking about this. This is a deeper destruction than Germany, right? This is what we should be talking. I say this is what they should be talking about. When the Romans came and destroyed Jerusalem, right? I know if I was them, that's what I would be talking about. That's what I'm talking about now, knowing I'm Hebrew, knowing I'm Israel. So where's this political divide between them and Rome right now? Since Rome in history destroyed the temple and took out Judea. Read.
And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
And know that what?
The desolation thereof is nigh.
Christ said, know that the desolation, my people, is nigh. When you shall see them send armies, the Roman army, know that the desolation is near. What desolation? Because guess what? Christ has a problem with how they dealt with us when destroying our homeland. And I'll go there to show you what desolation he's speaking of. But go on.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains.
And then let them in Judea flee to where?
To the mountains.
Flee to the mountains. This is how we started fleeing into different remote areas. Read.
And let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too.
Come on.
For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
That all things prophetically that were written must be fulfilled. Our last stand in our motherland, Israel. Now, there's a prophecy concerning this. Elder Lawya, let's go to Ezekiel 35 and 15. There's many prophecies, but there's a judgment on this. Hold that and make sure you get that and hold Revelation 12.
Ezekiel 35, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
As thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel.
And they did rejoice when they sacked Jerusalem and inherited our riches and enslaved our men, women, and children. That was prophecy that would happen. This is what Christ was warning us about in Judea. He warned the disciples and say, listen, when you see armies here, it's time for y'all to go. Make sure you teach it in the churches so that Israel will survive the genocide from Idumea. And I will one day gather their children together. I will awaken them in the far land to let them know that they are in fact the lost tribes of Israel. But you must save them. Tell them to flee into Africa, flee into different places. And everywhere you go, the enemy will come. Same people. Read.
As thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel.
They rejoice by the inheritance of our people. They rejoice when our people fell. Read.
Because it was desolate.
Because it was what?
Because it was desolate.
So this is how you're able to go into a land now, because it's desolate of her children. See? The whole earth is inhabited, and yet some people can go back to that land and stake claim to it. How? Well, the people were prophesied to be scattered and serve you. That's how. It will become what?
Because it was desolate.
Because it was desolate.
So will I do unto thee.
So will I do unto thee. It's prophesied that Christ is coming back to do to them. The powers that be who have constructed this death and destruction against us. Christ is coming back for vengeance. Vengeance is the Lord's. So no man out there who's a Hebrew, or woman is a Hebrew, or any man who understands you're Israel should be speaking vengeance on your tongue. We're not here for vengeance. We're here to teach the gospel. But Christ will bring the sword. Now, the enemy is in a pickle. Why? Well, the enemy is saying, well, okay, we missed out on Christ. We missed out on destroying them in 70 AD. But we can't miss this time. We must destroy the people before Christ returns. We must set up a database with genetics and find out where they are throughout the earth. And we must make a plan. A plan that would lead to the majority, if not all, Israel being extinct. We must come up with a plan. Desolation was prophesied. Why Israel is desolate? Because the people are serving in a far land. In a land that was prophesied. Why? We broke the law. We wanted to be like the Gentiles. He put us under the Gentiles. But guess what? This condition wasn't permanent. It wasn't meant to be permanent. Revelations 12. And let's start at the first verse.
Yes, sir. Revelation 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth.
Now we know the 12 stars represents the 12 tribes of Israel. Right? 12 stars, come on.
Travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. There appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
A great red dragon having what?
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns. The 7 heads represents the 7 hills of Rome. The 10 horns represents the 10 European countries who've aligned themselves in an allegiance with Italy or Rome. The European nations who are the modern day EU today. Now, these are not Japhetic people. These are Edomites, Idumeans, not according to my opinion, according to Esau's literature. And I don't need Esau's literature because the Bible points them out. There's nowhere in the earth, according to prophecy, in modern day that we can see in the end days, where Israel would have rule to be able to reprimand or power to destroy any other people on earth. Nowhere in prophecy would Israel have this much power at the end. Nowhere. Israel will be under all nations. Hold on and get Deuteronomy 32 and 21. Deuteronomy 32 and 19.
Deuteronomy 32, verse number 19.
Read.
And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be.
I will see what your end shall be. Read.
For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith.
Come on.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
It says we move God to jealousy by breaking his law with that which is not God.
They have provoked me to anger with their vanities.
And we, our forefathers, provoked our God to anger. Read.
And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
I will move them to jealousy with them who are not a people. When it says not a people, I didn't choose these people who are ruling. You were the people who were meant to rule. So I'm going to provoke you to jealousy with the people I didn't choose. Read.
I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
And they're going to be what? A foolish nation. They'll set up schools that should bring people close to God and teach gender neutrality. Does that sound intelligent to any of us? Where you go to school to become a fool. Well, our God said this is what would happen. That you will go to school and get politically radicalized by a bunch of nut jobs. Let's go back where it says you should be led away captive into all nations. You shall be led away captive into all nations.
St. Luke 21, verse number 20.
Yep.
And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
Come on.
Jumping down to 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
They shall fall by the edge of the sword. Read.
And shall be led away captive into all nations.
And shall be led away captive into all nations. You will go into slavery, Israel, according to Christ. You shall be led away captive into all nations. Read.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
So those who inhabit Israel after 70 AD would be who? Gentiles, non-Israelites. Idumeans, according to history, their history, Idumeans through conversion. And then hold up now. From Babylon to Timbuktu, you see the highlight. From Babylon to Timbuktu, Rudolph Art Windsor, even though a few things in here isn't correct when it comes to identifying the Europeans. Of course, he thought they were Japheth. Incorrect. Esau took Japheth too. Idumean took Ashkenazi and renamed themselves Ashkenazi. And I got that history also. Now, Babylon and Timbuktu, page 84. And let's read the highlighted part, Elder Lawya. And what I'll do here, I told y'all, getting that academy, folks, there's some hot information up in there. Hot information. Let's read this. Where it says, in the year 65 BC.
Yes, sir. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. And in 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people.
Come on.
During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
Fled into where?
Fled into Africa.
This is how we got into Africa in numbers. We fled into Africa, what?
During the period from Pompey to Julius, it is estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery.
Fleeing from Edomites, Idumeans, who also converted into Judaism and eventually became what? King of Judea. White people ruling over black people in Judea. Read.
The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
The slave market was filled with what? Black Jews who were from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. It isn't racist. It isn't anti anything. That's history. Go back to Revelation 12.
Revelation 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Come on.
And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered.
And it says the dragon stood before the woman what?
Which was ready to be delivered.
Which was ready to be delivered. That's right, folks. So Herod was a Satanist. They were linked directly with Satan under a decree to kill the prophetic child who would one day free Israel. See? This wasn't just political. Lucifer, or let me tell you his name. His name for them is Samael, the angel. He's the angel of technology who have given them information during their time of rule. The technology and all that was given to them by Samael. It was Samael who made an allegiance with Esau, Mount Seir, and say, listen, when you get in power, I'm going to help you destroy your brother. But you have to help me do what I need to get off of this plane. You get servants and you build the constructs I give you in technology so that I can get beyond this plane and go through the portal. I know this sounds like something from Wi-Fi, but folks, that's what it is. NASA is a religious program. Okay, it's a religious program. And it was the serpent with Caesar as well as, you got it, Herod, directing Herod to kill the baby. And we've been so desensitized and destroyed and programmed through psychology. What country would allow the termination of babies? And think that there wouldn't be a repercussion or consequences. Think about that, folks. By God. But here it is right here. It tells us in Revelations that the serpent stood before the woman to kill the child before it was born. And it's the same spirit that's in legislation over our people till this day. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Verse number 4.
Come on.
And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
To kill the child as soon as it's born. No sooner the child is born, you got all these people hovering around the child. Well, hey, the baby might be this and the baby might be that. Do you want us to do this? Do you want us to do that? Like, oh, back off. The baby's healthy. The baby's fine. Well, no, something might happen to the baby if we don't do this. Read.
Verse 5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
So, according to Revelation, this woman, Mary, would bring forth a child who would one day rule the earth with a rod of iron, coming against Esau and Edom for their evil against the children of Israel. Read.
And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne.
Come on.
And the woman fled into the wilderness.
And the woman fled into Africa,
where she have a place prepared of God, that they should feed there 1,260 days.
So we will be in the wilderness, which is the earth, as an extension of our captivity being scattered according to Christ's prophecy in the book of Luke. Right? So we would be desolate, destitute, without home. Africa isn't our homeland. It's the place of our dispersion. Africa isn't the homeland. Israel is the homeland. Read.
Verse number 7.
Come on.
And there was war in heaven.
And there was war in heaven.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
Come on.
And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven.
Come on.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called
that same serpent or seraphim who was once cherubim from heaven, Satan. And that serpent is known for administering venom. Venom. Because they do it more in a clean way. The Romans used to take snakes and put it in the beds of their enemies, or the carriages of their enemies, or in the beds of their enemies. Right? But now they do it another way to administer the poison. And I'm going to let you all figure that out. But the serpent is still administering poison nonetheless. At the same time, they're telling us there's too many people on the earth and we need to do something about it because of the climate change and everything else, so that we don't question when people just magically start coming up missing. Right? Because it's too crowded anyway. And we have too many undesirables or useful eaters. Some of the people we made this way and turned their rich countries into third world countries. But anyway, just too many of us, and we have to do something about it, you know? But I'm telling you what the real plan is. What they're telling you is through psychology is a way of you receiving your soft death and accepting. Let me tell you, it's not normal to accept your people coming up with cancer and getting diagnosis and taking chemo. All that stuff isn't normal, folks. But it's the messaging that makes us, that have us accept death. It's the messaging. It becomes so normalized, we think that's normal. Oh, yeah, we need to fight this disease. Or, yeah, send the money. Yeah, this person fought. And he fought pushing up daisies. And none of us say, well, what is the origin of these diseases? How are they getting in our bloodstreams? Okay. What's going on here? Are we complicit with this by voluntarily listening and doing exactly what they're telling us to do to stay healthy? Right? The serpent administers poisons, folks. His name, that's right, his name, the angel over the Idumeans or Rome, is Samael. See, that man of sin must be revealed. Samael. Folks. Samael. See, I got to drop the knowledge on y'all because I can understand, folks, that this is a religion against us. These people are religious zealots. Samuel. And when you do this, right? No, not you. We're going to deal with this devil here. This devil here, Samuel. Because the only thing you got to do right here, type in Rome. Type in Rome. As guardian angel and prince of Rome. He is the arch enemy of our people, Israel, by the beginning of Jewish culture in Europe. Samuel is Satan, the serpent, the angel. And folks, guess what? The rabbis know this. He's the angel over the Roman Empire, the Idumeans. See, they're both in trouble. Christ is coming to judge both of them. So he works through the systems we trust. When you see that phylactery with the serpents around it on the apothecary, oh yeah, you better watch. You better check it out. They're working congruent one with another. His people, the children of the devil, the Idumeans, and Samael. Let's finish reading and we can end it out, Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir. Verse 8. In fact, verse number 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world.
Which deceiveth what?
The whole world.
The whole world. And I used to wonder, we used to have, Elder Lawya, we used to have, when I'm growing up, there was one neighborhood pharmacy. I remember when doctors, I don't know if you remember this, even though you came up in North Philadelphia too. The doctors used to say, apple a day keeps the doctor away. What, you got a little fever? Take 2 aspirins and call me in the morning. And now they're all over the place with people that hasn't been researched concerning their religious backgrounds. And unless you understand Revelation 12 and the Bible narrative, you don't realize, folks, when a system is being put in place to industrialize euthanism. We're going to wrap it up after this chapter. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
The accuser of our brethren is cast down. So you have to also know when someone is operating in the spirit of the devil. Christ is about forgiveness. The devil gains power through accusing. See? Accusing. Because by accusing, no one is looking at him as the enemy. You're on the defense. See? The accuser, how dare the devil seek to accuse anyone? And that's why they hate Christ. Because Christ said, you are your father, the devil. And the accuser has a nerve to go before God to claim that we're doing wrong. Or open up a media conglomerate with cameras to claim we're doing something wrong. Right? When it's your established systems that have enslaved us. How dare them get in the media and claim that we're anything other than the children of God? See, this is how you know they're children. They'll set up a system to accuse us as if we're the face of criminality, molestation, thievery, drugs, debauchery. See? And that's why Christ says, you are your father, the devil. You just like your father. You going to try to accuse our people of something? When you set up a system on rape, robbery, murder, you do all types of stuff. Even Kanye West, he done went off the rails yesterday. They have sacrificed my mother. And no one is talking about any of that. They sweeping that up under the rug. Oh, you ain't supposed to tell us. You ain't supposed to tell people about our secret rituals. Huh? before I left. Before I went into different countries, I spoke with a brother from a prominent brothers and sisters singing group. A matter of fact, that particular man secretly was on my Skype calls. And one day I get a call around 1 a.m. from Skype. On my Skype. It was the brother from a prominent group. And he says, Rawchaa, Elder Rawchaa, and told me who he was. I'm like, what's up, bro? He said, you know I'm in your class. I'm like, of course. What you calling me this time of night? What's happening? He says, I'm going to tell you this right now. The music business is ruled by straight warlocks. And I'm like, what? He said, I'm like, of course I know that. He says, nah, Elder Rawchaa, I'm telling you what I've seen. He says, when it comes to Sony, there's a secret floor, allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly. There's an elevator that goes to a secret floor that none of us can go to. And this is where their high priest that comes over from different lands, which is really above rabbi to some degree. They come, he says, Babyface and others would go through this floor, and this particular priest would pray over the masters after the recordings. He said, they've done it to my recordings. And every one that they've prayed over has become top 10 hits. Over 50% of them become number one. I got that phone call, what, 2000, late 2008, I got that phone call. He says, you don't realize what's going on the other side of this music business. He says, with people having to dye their hair and do all these other things, folks, they're not just doing that. They're mimicking a past God. They're mimicking a past God. Even when it comes to thugs. A lot of you don't know thugs and divas are gods and goddesses of ancient East India. Ancient Babylonian gods and goddesses. So when they put you in these videos, folks, they're not just putting you, they're making you an actual idol, a living idol of a fallen God. I've had these conversations, and I'm just glad that brothers are coming out and revealing everything now and saying, listen, I can't hold it no more. This is about sacrifice, blood, and death against our people, and we must speak up and come back together before it's over. Let's go back, Elder Lawya, where you are.
Yes, sir. Verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength.
Now has come what?
Salvation and strength.
Salvation and strength.
In the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down.
You notice on the news and in the media, all they do is accuse us and paint black men in particular in a negative light. The only time they will actually give any feel-good stories for black men, only if they're trans, gay, or feminine. See? That's the only way. And guess what, folks? A lot of y'all don't know this. Chingy, the rapper Chingy, I've spoke with him privately too. He asked, could he put one of my teachings in the back of his videos called King Judah. Y'all can actually go and type in King Judah, and you'll see Chingy come up. It's a rap song he did. Don't you know a little after that, there was a man turned woman, I forgot her name, and then he came out and apologized. He came out and said that him and Chingy had something going on to actually demonize and destroy this brother's career. And then later after, because Chingy, don't forget, Chingy, the young girls love Chingy and all that. And his image was something, you know, when it comes to his popularity with how the women adored him. Lost his deals and everything because what they want to celebrate with us can be used to accuse us. And I forgot the man name who turned to a woman, but he later came out and said, I just made that up for clout. I made that up for clout. See, but what people, and when it all came out, I'm like, this is deep that they're doing this. Because Chingy came out saying King Judah, that he's a Lion of Judah. And then not too long after that, the scandal came out where they would use this trans thing to soil his image as a man who only loved women. So they always been doing this thing. It didn't start with just Kanye and Kyrie and all that. Now who put that stuff out in the media and allowed that to fester in the minds of people? Don't forget, folks, many people turned their back on Chingy for a straight lie, and that guy who did the accusation, nothing happened to him. Accuser of the brethren. They've always done this when the truth is being spoken by someone who can influence and are not under their control. Accuser of the brethren, read.
Yes, sir. Verse number, or the rest of 10.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's his name, Sidney Starr. Sidney Starr made the accusations against the brother, and the brother had a video called King Judah, and he had me teaching at the end of the video. Look it up. At the very end, you'll hear me teaching. Folks, they've been trying to keep this under lids for a long time, but the Most High is not going to allow them. And that's why, folks, if they try to use the media to demonize, to castrate your black man, and to have us look in a negative eye, understand that they did the same thing to Christ. And guess what? Without us standing, the nation is doomed. Don't allow them, even if we have issues, don't allow the enemy to use those issues against us where we turn on one another. Because they are the accuser of the brethren. They only use the media to accuse us and put us in a negative light. And present us because they have the power to. And it's up to us to say, nah, you're the devil. Because our Christ says to forgive. Step off. Let us deal with our own business. What do you care about how we're being portrayed? Give us your evil deeds and portray that on the media daily. And see how the world feels about you. Because your evil deeds outweigh all the evil deeds of the earth since its inception. Starting with what? Cain killing his brother Abel. Your deeds outweigh Cain's. Don't allow them to use the media, folks, to have us turn on each other. That's why I'm so glad. They try to put a lid on it now. But I'm so glad our people responded to this Kyrie, Kanye West thing properly. If anything, it's rallying us together. If anything good has come out of this, it doesn't matter. People who didn't believe we were Israel are looking into that documentary. Okay? Finish reading.
For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night.
Because all the devil does is accuse, as if he has the moral high ground. Now the devil think he's slick now, being that we know their true tactics. But what they'll do is they'll pay one of our people to be their mouthpiece, and they'll just sit back. They'll sit back. Yeah, you can't say it's us accusing you. That's Charles Barkley. That's Shaq. See? Anybody out there that's trying to cast negative dispersions on black men in particular, and I'm going to tell you, even the thing that's going on with the coach. With the coach at Boston. I need y'all to check this out. Where he's dealing in a relationship, and the woman that he dealt with is in a relationship with a full-blown marriage. But the media cannot say anything about her. A white woman. But you will drag the black man through the mud. Hope y'all see this, folks. Check out right now. We need to put a spotlight on the media, and we need to keep drumming this thing home so that our people don't fall asleep. They're gonna back off for a little bit and stay quiet. They're gonna go right back at it again. And every time they portray us in a negative light, we have to rally together every time, just like we've done the last couple of months. Every time. And say, nah, we're not accepting your stories no more. Unless you give us Jerry Lee Lewis, who married his 13-year-old niece. Or Elvis Presley, who was dealing with every young girl underage he can get his nasty little grubby hands on. Talking about the king. The king of what? That guy couldn't dance, and he could not sing outside of learning certain riffs from us. Let's finish reading.
Verse number 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony.
Come on.
And they loved not their lives unto the death.
And they loved not their lives unto the death. Read.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
And ever since Christ, guess what? Ever since Christ was crucified and resurrected, the devil had been coming down on us. Why? Because that marked the time that the Most High would begin to tick down on the empire. And guess what? Satan, Samael, has no more entry through the portal for the council amongst the council of what they call the council of gods, the celestial council. He have no entry there to accuse us anymore. And he have no entry into Hades. Christ took the keys. So he's relegated to this plane as what? Mere man. So now he's working with his technology to get rid of us using Edom to bring forth his policy and war against Jacob, against us. And he's using the media to put people to sleep and to indoctrinate them into Satan's program to come against the righteous. And you know what's a shame? He's going to accomplish, him and the Edomites will accomplish the majority of what they're planning. Because there's no pushback, 90%, folks, 90% of the earth will be destroyed of our people. 90%. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer. Almost finished.
Sir, verse number 12.
Come on.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea.
And of the sea.
For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Because he know that he only have a short time. It says the devil have come down on you. So they throwing everything at the wall at this point, knowing that he have a short time. Throwing everything. Let's destroy marriages. Let's destroy family. Let's destroy everything. More debauchery, more evil. While we make a clean getaway. Let's confuse the people. Let's put everyone on drugs. Let's put everyone on drugs. That's why the Bible says be sober-minded. Come on.
Verse number 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child.
He persecuted the woman who brought forth the man-child. So when he knew that he couldn't get Christ, Christ died and resurrected. Now time is ticking down on the last empire, Rome. So he began to attack and come after those who fled into Africa and our people who were scattered due to the desolation and curse on Israel according to the word. This is why every place we are, they've created a third world status on us. See? Or have went in and experimented on us. Read on.
14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and a half time from the face of the serpent.
From the face of the serpent. A time and a half of times, when you look at it according to the original creation calendar, is 1,750 years. This is what I'm breaking down in the academy tomorrow, the time, and divide of times, to show everyone exactly what year we're in according to the original time. I'm going into it tomorrow in the academy. That means we have this amount of time to get into it, the safe space, before they come against us all together. I'm going to tell you, folks, and they're going to be coming after our people strictly for thought crimes. It's coming. They're priming the pumps for us accepting criminal charges for those who disagree with them. That's where we're going. Or who questions their history. That's where it's going, folks. And once you're under their institutions, they can do what they like. They're going to do everything to move people into their institutions, and then they'll be able to give you the stuff that's legal to give you within those particular constructs. Because that's what happened. Eventually, it's voluntary out here in the public. See? You can choose whether or not to get their stuff out here. But it's mandatory once you walk up in there. See? They wanted to seed all their institutions with it so they can just slowly but surely do it from out of the watching eyes of the public. Listen to what I'm telling you. Read on.
And the serpent was cast, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
Water after a flood. That's their education, their false education, their lies. They're false religions. Islam never benefited us, neither modern day Christianity. That was Ishmael and Esau colluding against the children of Israel to indoctrinate us under what? Under the religions for the gods they worship. That's why I thank the Most High when I see what's going on with Kanye and Kyrie, because now our God is speaking to them outside of your satanic construct. There's nothing you can do about them waking up as much as you can do about us who has awakened. Okay? We once believed your lies. But now, according to Christ, our Lord told us, according to the Bible, not to trust you. St. John 8:44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye shall do. You were a murderer from the beginning, and abide not in the truth, because what? The truth is not in you. Okay? So I'm just not going to trust you. Yeah, you're powerful, but I need to avoid your venom. Okay? The Bible, Christ also let us know that as much lies within us, be at peace with all men. So I have no problem personally against any race of people. But you're not going to convince me with your psychology. You're not going to convince me and others to off themselves who know better. Read.
Verse 16, and the earth, in fact, 15, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
After the woman.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
And that's their psychology, their false colleges. It's also the indoctrination of false religion. So that's how they try to overtake us, by the lies that came through the Roman Catholic Church. Read.
16. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
How did the earth help the woman? You got it. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The book of Jasher. We have the records that the Levites left, who were the Essenes. And now it gives us the proper narrative that was lost concerning the Old and New Testament. It connected the dots. The earth helped the woman has nothing to do with archaeology or paint. It has everything to do with the records that confirms that our Bible is true. You cannot claim the book was tampered with if we found the records that was written in and that was left in the Qumran caves that correlates and match the records we're reading. You can't claim the white man tampered with them. See? As far as the context. Now, when it comes to the name, there's proof that they erased the name all through the Dead Sea Scrolls that they presented after holding it for 40 years, and they put Yahweh in certain areas with the same script to prove that they moved the Most High's name out of the Essene script. And the only different script in the Dead Sea Scrolls is where they almost pasted Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh all through it. That's the only difference in handwriting. And that's what happens when they get hold of our records. But the context of the Dead Sea Scrolls are true. Let's finish reading.
Verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God.
So here it is. We are in a war, folks. We are in a war. So their aim, Samuel and his people who control the media, their aim is to do what?
And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
The remnant of her seed.
Which keep the commandments of God.
Who keep the commandments of God.
And have the testimony of Yeshua the Christ.
But yet also have Christ's true testimony. Did not we give Christ's testimony today concerning them? That's what they've been trying to extinguish out of the minds of our children. or off the pages of history how Christ truly views them. And how, to the contrary, he loves us. They've been trying to keep that out of the mix through theology. Well, it's about how we treat one another. It's universal. It's the universe. All people are the same. All that nonsense that feel-good nonsense they teach through psychology while stomping us out. No more. The Bible tells you that lies would come out of their mouths. A flood is the lies that would come out of their mouths. Finish reading.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
The remnant of her seed. That means those who have escaped. Read.
Which keep the commandments of God.
Who keep the commandments of God.
And have the testimony of Yeshua the Christ.
And folks, this is how you head your family. We must keep the commandments of God along with Christ's true testimonies. And like Christ said in St. John 8:32, you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Well, that concludes our broadcast for today. The media must lie to uphold the empire. What empire? The Idumean Empire. Don't make no bones about it, folks. If you go in, this is where the rubber meets the road. You go into this lesson today and go into the history of how they converted, and that gives you all the information you need to know. Today is the lesson they didn't want you to see. It's been quantified. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, send it to everyone you know and have them see today why they have always promoted us with a bad image, why they've always targeted our people and would only incentivize destruction when it comes to influencing the culture. It's in this lesson today because they are of their father, the devil. Well, that concludes our lesson. Thank you. Right here is how you can support the work right here, right up under me. You see that? Support the work right there. This was just the tip of the iceberg. HistoryTimes.org, December 4th. I would like to see you there in a couple of weeks. December 4th. Go to HistoryTimes.org to enroll. Yes, we're going to give you the chart, the chronological chart of the books. A lot of things we're going to teach. Polygamy and Israelite culture. Where did that come from? Is that something still should be practiced? What did Christ say about it? We're going to talk about that. And we're going to also have a lesson within that. How to maintain family in a devilish world. How to maintain our family in a devilish world. Okay. Also, hey, in that, Christ said, remember Lot's wife. Remember Lot's wife. If someone wants to cleave to this world and oppose the truth, the Bible says eventually, no matter how much we love someone, we must have the strength to let them go. Okay, so we have to know, the Bible says there's a time for embracing and there's a time to refrain from embracing. That and more will be in the academy, and we're going to do everything we can in the academy to make it nice and what? Make it nice, informative, as well as solution-oriented in the times to come. Now that we know where Israel, I know it feels good to know where Israel, and here it's on everyone's tongue right now. But folks, understand when something like this happens, the enemy doubles down. The enemy doubles down. So if they know we know now, they're going to go to the next phase of, okay, this is how we must engage them. Now they understand. And folks, the last engagement is them warring against our people. Don't allow them through their media to come up with a narrative of something happening in one of these closed settings to say that an Israelite did something. Don't allow that narrative to be put out there. If you don't see it with your own eyes, where you live, and this is what I say, I take everything in the media with a grain of salt, myself. But I follow the media through the eyes of this, the Bible, and avoid the serpent's mouth, that's the media, and the serpent's tail, the venom. Shalom, historytimes.org. I'll be in South Kakalaki next week. That's right, South Carolina, I'm coming to see you. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up, sin not. We will soon see Zion. Folks, enroll in that academy. I want to see you. Don't disappoint me. Shalom.
I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me. And through the tribulation, I know I must stand. For a new heaven, a new earth, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path, show me the way to Zion. I feel